But I.
I see. I always end at one. Always. Try to make my days a little bit
We
easier.
have a quorum.
I believe we do.
Yeah. So, Hello, ready? If Stephanie ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I call the
I need to bring
Smart Board special meeting order.
I already got mine. It's,
One
thing
I pledge allegiance.
not posting on on Friday night because they did not do that. They posted at 9 a.m. I don't think you guys.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And the clerk, roll call, please.
Chairperson Abdul Haddis,
Present.
Vice Chairperson John Paul Rea.
Here.
Ms. Hillary Chambers.
Present.
Ms. Sheila Cote is excused absence. Dr. Curtis Ivory is excused absence. Mr. Royce Manico.
Here.
Mr. Brett Razorgan is also excused absence.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Next item. The adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll support it. Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those who agree signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carry. Item 5, certification. Smarten.
SMART will hold a special Board of Directors meeting on Monday, July 8th, 2024 at 2 p.m. in the Beale Building located at 535 Grizzle Street, Suite 600, Detroit, Michigan 48226. This meeting is open to the public.
Thank you. Item 6A, board meeting minute for May 23rd, 2024.
Make a motion to approve the board meeting minutes as presented, Mr. Chair.
I'll support it, Mr. Chairman.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Manico.
on page 5, under item E, resolution for financial audit services, should that last 2 words read 3 years instead of 5?
Mr. Farrell, who have the answer for that?
Where is
The, at the bottom, E resolution, I think the authorization was for a 3-year contract,
Thank you,
and it says 2 1-year renewals for 5 years. So I think that should read,
That's correct.
actually read 3 years on that.
It's a 3-year with 2 absolute.
I will amend my motion to add the change proposed by Mr. Matt.
It says 3 years plus 2 1 year, so that would.
That's,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
That's correct.
So it's a 5-year contract,
right.
essentially.
Okay.
I will stick with the original motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, motion been made and supported. Any other discussions? In none, all those who agree signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carry. Item 6B, executive session minute for May 23rd, 2024.
A motion to support the minutes?
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those who agree signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, motion carried. Item 7, public participation. Anybody from the public like to participate in the meeting? Robert?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, members of the board, staff, and members of the public. Robert Plowski from Southgate, Wayne County, longtime transit activist and a longtime smart rider, going on almost 9 years. I'm here today to show my support for all of our drivers. These amazing drivers take immense pride in their work, making sure that the community gets reliable and efficient transportation every single day. But it's really disheartening to see that they are not getting the benefits they deserve. Smart is indeed a great place to work. No doubt about it, one of the outstanding systems in all of Metro Detroit. With competitive pay that's only second to the Ann Arbor Area Transportation Authority. However, it's unacceptable that our drivers have been working without a contract for nearly 18 months. I do appreciate the efforts made by Smart to have the ongoing negotiations with the union and resolve this issue. But the prolonged delay has created an uncertainty and frustration amongst our drivers within our system. Smart has significantly impacted my life, providing vital transportation that has fueled my passion for advocating here and improving here in Metro Detroit and my community. The growth and sustainability that Smart has achieved are commendable. But this contract is a major roadblock and it's unfair to our drivers. The situation not just affects our drivers, but it tarnishes Smart's reputation as a role model for other agencies. Seeing current Smart employees feel compelled to leave their vests at the front door is a clear indicator that we need to act now. It's time to give our drivers what they deserve. By doing so, we can continue Smart and growth together and maintain high standards that our community relies on. Like smarter mobility, the amount of public engagement and expansion that we've had, the partnership with Oakland County to expand transportation services with a brand new millage. That's all reliable, and let's work together to ensure that our drivers are treated fairly and Smart remains a beacon for excellence and excellent transportation services within our state, within our region. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robert. Any other member of the public?
Hello, my name is Stephen Hammondtree. I live in East Point, but you can find me all over the bus system. What I'd like to talk about today is, at this point, something that feels like policy that needs to change regarding informing detours or abiding by, informing bus riders of detours or abiding by them. More than once this year, I've gone somewhere hoping to make use of a detour that Smart has posted and said they were going to follow, or at least to see it. Two examples immediately come to mind. On April 22nd, the day it launched, the 492 was supposed to be detoured away from Royal Oak Transit Center and instead turn around via 11 Mile and Woodward. That did not happen. The buses just went normal route without Smart telling anyone. And I also emailed a picture, as you can now see on the screen. There's a detour that's still current for the 560 trips to and from New Baltimore along 23 Mile that I tried to use just 2 days ago. The normal route is shown in red, but because of some construction, turning left from 23 onto Gratiot isn't allowed. So 560 buses coming from New Baltimore are on detour, which I've represented in blue on the map. The detour mentions a temporary bus stop. That's the purple bus icon. And there was a sign there, so I stood there and I waited for the bus. I saw a bus approaching on 23 Mile on the tracker, and then I watched it go right past Waterside Drive, instead turning right into the Harbor Freight Tools parking lot, continuing through Target. Couldn't really see it after that, and I just went back to the temporary bus stop in case I was seeing a different bus, and represented the path the driver most likely took with the thin green line. I called to complain, and the customer service representative gaslit me about that, saying I had just seen a bus staging, but then I looked at the tracker and I saw it rolling south on Gratiot. Next bus due in 48 minutes. Don't really appreciate being lied to about that. But also, that's it for that detour, but the other problem is Smart seems to have a policy of just hoping people check the website. There's a detour every year in downtown Mount Clemens for the fireworks. And despite the fact there's a digital screen and it's a recurring yearly detour, no one told anyone who was waiting at that stop that the buses wouldn't be stopping there. I counted over a dozen people while I waited for paratransit that we had scheduled to stop there. My time's about up, so thank you for your time and have a nice day.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public like to comment?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Kevin Cologne. I'm the president business agent of ATU Local 1564. We represent the clerical and the fixed route operators at Smart, whose contract expired on December 31st, 2022. We started negotiations in September, October, or September, August. So we've been out without a contract for about 19 months. In negotiation for 23 of those months. Since that time, I've attended a number of these meetings, and whenever the contract is mentioned, the response from your side has always been, we're in negotiations with them, insinuating everything is fine. Things have not been fine, nor are they currently. Whenever two sides come together to negotiate a contract, as they should in good faith, it should not take that long to negotiate a contract. It definitely shouldn't take 23 months. Outside of the union turning down proposals we are not in favor of, all the delays will come from your side. First, it was your former VP of Human Resources not scheduling meetings in a timely manner. Normally, when you're in negotiations, after the end of a session, everybody opens up their appointment book and you set up the next date. She wanted to wait. She said she'd reach out later, which took months, even with us inquiring and asking for more dates. When she finally did, we were back on the Zoom platform. That's fine, we're still meeting, so we'll take it. Shortly after that, you got your side requested mediation. So now, not only apparently we cannot be in the same room together, but now we need a referee. That's basically what a mediator is. Now in the midst of that, we're in the fact-finding process. Another long process that we are currently in with your side claiming approximately 30 items that we can't come to the negotiation or we can't come to an agreement on. And at the end of this process, you can basically impose your proposal on us without us agreeing to them. And that's going to add another 2 or 3 months onto these negotiations if we go through on this process. Last month, you sunk even lower when drivers came to this forum to speak on their concerns and the contract and their safety issues, and they were fired 2 weeks later or a week later. Now, through the current contract process, we were able to get them back, but they never should have been fired in the first place. I'm asking this board directly to do whatever it is in your power to end this negotiation so we can all move forward. We have negotiations coming up in another 1.5 years. And these negotiations have lasted longer, just too long. So if you thought firing those employees last month was going to keep us quiet, you were sadly mistaken. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other person for the public comment?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Troy Mosley. I'm from ATU Local 1564, Stewart at Oakland Terminal. I don't have a whole lot of things to add besides what our president just said. I just want to know, is this board going to take action? We're continuously asking you all to get involved to make sure that these negotiations are fairly done. The things that we're at an impasse on can be handled in the next negotiations. It's been too long. We've been here 23 months, as Kevin said, way too long. I always hear from Pharaoh We want to get these drivers paid. Historic money on the table. Well, if that was the case, then you would let go of the items that we can't come to an agreement with right now and deal with it on the next negotiations. And let's talk about those historic monies that you're talking about. Everything is in perspective. It's historic to whom? And I know my president's going to get mad at me about this, but 2011, we took that pay cut. I don't know if any board members are here. We're on the board at 2011. We never got that money back as promised from SMART. So when you say historic, at even at just 10.5% since 2011 in the 4 contracts that we have negotiated, we'd be at $29 right now. We'd be at $32 if this contract passes at top pay. So that's $3. So there's nothing historic about that. And I know everything we say here, it's going to be rebutted by a Pharaoh, and we don't have a chance to rebut it at that time until the next meeting. I don't know how you guys vet GMs, but you should have did a better job. We got fired in Atlanta and Cincinnati. Don't know what happened in Dallas, but I assume it's the same thing. His response to Atlanta was one person didn't like him, so they fired him. Cincinnati butted head with the union. He was let go. If one person can do that job, let me ask right now, fire this man. He's no good for SMART. He's no good for the region that elected to pay a millage, Oakland County, Wayne County, and Macomb County. They trusted you with the money. They trusted you that you can run the company.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'll be back on the 25th to finish. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public like to comment? Take the podium, please. State your name and address.
Just made it, huh? My name is Brother Cunningham, from the Detroit area. I'm an advocate, usually with DDOT. Sometimes talk about SMART. There is a contingent of people that are disabled, and they would love for these meetings where the public comment portion to be a hybrid. And the short notice was some bull for real. You should have had some more notice than 3 days. That's talking to everybody in the room. That's not cool. It should have had more notice so other people can attend. And word is you fired 2 bus drivers in retaliation for them speaking up. This administration sucks. Compared to years I've come before, the leadership sucks. It really does. Not you though. But I appreciate the good you guys do, but the bus service, this fast bus, and that has not been on time, short notice, firing bus drivers because they're speaking up. That just doesn't make sense. It's nasty. And karma is real, no matter how much money you got, how much power you got, karma is real. And disabled folks should have that hybrid option. And also DDOT is pumping up their training program. That's how they're filling their ranks. Maybe you can hire DDOT's training center to train SMART drivers, collaborate with each other. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public?
Good afternoon. My name is Claudette Delahaye. I'm a 36-year veteran now of SNEMTA, SMART, and DDOT. And I was trained by a former union steward on the road by the name of Teddy Hobbs, who was a former union steward. To whom much is given, much is expected. And Smart has received millions of dollars for the millage, and we do trust you. However, from my disposition, I can't trust anyone. My observations with the buses have prompted me to have to drop what I'm doing and attend to our public transportation. For example, 405, 420, 415, 375. We've lost buses at 6 a.m. in the morning, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and passengers are left stranded with absolutely no provisions of being able to move from their bus stop. This was this morning. On a regular basis, 405, 415, 420 is suspended, and there's no access to 12 Mile Road to head east or west. I've made other observations. For example, getting on the bus, the cleverboard is not working, which is the heart and soul of the bus. That is not working. It basically gives a turn-by-turn signal for the drivers on their routes. It communicates with dispatch. They're left stranded, having to either, the drivers are left stranded, either having to rely on the passengers to help them out. Other issues that I've noticed, the accelerators on the buses, they're not responding, so the buses cannot pick up speed, which I find abhorrent. The drivers are uncomfortable. That I've noticed. Their morale is low. That I have noticed in the 35 years. This has been the worst it has ever been. Other issues that have also come to light. Oakland County, 7 lanes long and 4 buses deep of buses not being fixed, waiting parts. So I know these things. Shift change. It's taking up to 1, 2, and 3 hours in the afternoon. So we lose service at approximately 1:45 until about 4:30. And this is due to the fact that they have drivers, but not enough buses, working buses. I spoke with the VP of operations, and she said that she ascertains that they're at 82% capacity, where I ascertain that that 82% does not on any given day give up to the fact that a bus will break down 2 or 3 times, having to be towed and be replaced. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public like to comment? Anybody from the public like to comment? Twice, for the 3rd time, we close the public comment. Oh, we have one by email.
I have someone who sent an email. His name is Don Kenley. He sent an email on June 25th, June 6th, and he also came into the office and I spoke with him on June 25th. These are extensive letters. If, with your permission, Chair, I would like to forward these on to the board members and forward my response as well.
Please do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Nobody on the phone?
Are there any comments under public comments? Here, let me check too. Just one second. Can you read that, please? Oh, here we go. You're welcome.
This comment comes from Lucas Lasecki. It says, "Good afternoon, members of the board. I apologize that I am unable to attend this meeting in person as I am traveling out of town and was unable to make it back on such short notice. I would first like to express my disappointment in the decision by SMART to schedule a consequential meeting on the Monday following a holiday weekend with only 3 days notice. This gives the strong impression that SMART is attempting to quell public turnout, as many of us advocates frankly expected would happen, especially that of the bus operators and attendants who were informed just a couple of hours before the deadline to request time off, and whom, given precedent, I would assume would be denied that time anyway. With that said, however, I commend SMART for reaching an agreement with their mechanics represented by UAW Local 771 This is a necessary and long overdue gesture, as I understand SMART is coping with a shortage of mechanics, which is leading to a shortage of operable buses that is having dire impacts on service reliability as we speak. My praise on this matter is limited, however. First, it is very disappointing that this agreement was not made until more than 18 months past the deadline and nearly 2 years since negotiations started. As a result, will last less than 18 months before the next contract is due to begin. But more importantly, I have serious concerns that despite a significant rise in wages, this contract includes changes to work rules that will worsen working conditions. That aligns with what many are fearing will happen in the ongoing ATU negotiations.
Thank you. Anything else? No. Thank you. Now we close the public comment. We move to item 8, the chairman's report. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Farrell on the excellent award was presented to him a couple of weeks ago at the MGM. We appreciate that award that recognizes his effort and his leadership. And I would like, in behalf of the board, say congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, that's all I have. Now we move to item 9, the general manager's report. Mr. Farrell.
I hate that the union president left before he could hear my comments, but that being said, change is difficult. And when you go to an organization to make change, people don't like that. That's what I do. And for the record, I have never been terminated for cause in Atlanta or anyplace else. So cause means you did something wrong. They don't pay you when you leave. Now, that being said, the responsibility of this organization is to provide public transportation. To do that, that requires people. What it takes to recruit a person in 2024 is not the same thing it took to recruit a person in 1980. The rule changes that SMART proposed changes some of those. At the next board meeting, I'll go into more detail. But for those of you who think that Dwight Farrell is Darth Vader, I offered up things that would increase operator pay that the union didn't ask for. The contention about the attendance policy, we negotiated the same attendance policy with every union except the ATU. There is a 45 cents an hour on the table bonus for coming to work, in addition to the 32% that happens in this contract. There's an 85 cents an hour incentive on the table for not having accidents. I would like to give people an example of one of the provisions in the union contract that needs to be changed. People come here every month talking about service reliability. Our current contract has our extra board operators. These are people who fill in for people who call in sick and what have you. They all are off on Saturdays and Sundays. This organization relies on people to sign up on their day off to cover absences on the weekend. Delta Airlines could not run an airline if it depended on flight attendants and pilots to sign up on their day off on the weekends to cover service. That's one of the things that we've asked for. So when we have service that runs after 6 p.m. The union didn't ask for money for that, but we offered it. Or paid holidays. I offered to bring them in parity with the off days that administrative employees have. That wasn't asked for, that was given. Now, as I stated, it takes human beings. The current proposal that's on the table as it relates to pension, 3 other unions here have agreed to. It doesn't save SMART a dime by proposing what we're proposing, but to new employees and new employees only, this does not impact our offer by changing the pension impacts no one currently working at SMART. We're not taking away anything from anybody who works here. But what I can say, and I'll give you more specifics and examples at the next board meeting, you invest 100% in SMART's 20% a year for the first 5 years. You're invested 100%. At the 6th year, you get SMART's money and your money if you leave. In the current plan, if you leave after 6 years, you get your money plus interest. SMART's money doesn't go anywhere. There are a lot of people who are coming into the workforce that are not going to work 10 years at SMART. That idea of somebody coming to work here and working 30 years, it's just not going to happen anymore. There will be some, but that will be the exception, not the rule. So I want people to understand that the things that we put forward didn't just fall out of the air. We are looking for things that attract the next generation of employee. Currently, when you work on the extra board, your life is not your own. You may have to get off at midnight and have to be at work at 5 o'clock in the morning. The FTA is no longer going to even allow that. So we proposed having 2 extra boards, one in the evening, one at night, so people could be able to manage their schedule better. So the question is why did we not do these things? Why don't we just pay people and move on? These are changes that need to happen now in order to be able to make sure that we can provide the consistent service that people come here and say that we don't do every month. That is what this is about. So this is my last comment. Anybody who is a chief executive officer in any organization puts things in place that he or she ultimately will not see, but is for the betterment of the future of the organization. That's what this is. So I hope anybody who's listening can see that, right now you got one side of the story. We're not trying to take away anything from anybody. Everything that is being proposed is about providing a better product. So I will leave it at that. But what I will say is even the money that we've offered exceeds what the ATU asked for. That 32% that I was talking about, they asked for 30. They didn't ask for increases in pension. They didn't ask for increases in tuition reimbursement. We offered it. They didn't ask for a school loan repayment program. We offered it because we do have bus operators who have school debt. We have bus operators who want to go to school. We changed it so that you can go to school for whatever it is that you choose to. So we offered a PPO plan because everything that we have right now is an HMO. We have had people ask us, why do we not have a high deductible plan with a health savings account? We're going to offer that too. So my responsibility is to put the best product on the street that we can. Just like I respect the ATU's responsibility to negotiate their contract. They're negotiating for current contract For current employees, I'm negotiating for both current and future. So there you have it. Like I said, I'll provide more detail since the union clearly wants to negotiate in public. We can. So does anybody of the board, since they asked you to get involved, is there any questions that this board has from me?
Not, I don't think that at the present time, I think we should.
I would, sir, Mr. Chair, if I can, I do want to clarify one item because I feel that we were responsible for the confusion over the meetings. So just for the public's information, the reason why the previous meeting in June, and my apologies to the public and to the employees and to my colleagues, were because the Oakland County representatives ended up not being available. I was out of town visiting my father, and Brett ended up with a 103-degree temperature and could not come down to a meeting. And so knowing the importance of some of the items on the agenda, Ms. Martin, thank you so much for all the work that you did to try to reschedule this meeting as soon as possible, as soon as we could be available, and knowing that we continue to have a July meeting. So, you know, there wasn't 3 days notice. We did what we are required to do under the Open Meetings Act. But that is the reason why there was a shifting around of meetings, because Oakland County representatives were not available at the last
It
minute.
was some other county too, like Wayne County, we have a problem with that
Well,
date too.
I-
So we don't want to let you have the responsibility by yourself.
Thank you.
It fell on all of us. We apologize.
For the record, Macomb County was here.
Mr. Chair, we thought it important to ratify this contract with the UAW as soon as possible, as opposed to waiting. And so with your permission, we requested this special board meeting because it's important that we put that issue to bed, and so that employees can get their money as soon as possible. I want to reiterate the things that we asked for in this contract, we asked for in every one of the other contracts that we had. The issue as it relates to the pension has been agreed to by 3 other unions. This pension this change does not impact anybody currently working at Smart.
Okay, thank you. If we're done with that, we move to item 10. We take the resolution for fiscal year 2025 Board of Director meeting schedule and standing resolution setting regular board meeting. Anybody have any
So moved.
comment?
Sport?
Motion been made and supported. Okay, Spear.
Thank you. Yep, not Ron. It's Laura Bianiak here. Good afternoon, Chairman Hattis, members of the board. Smart staff recommend that the board adopt a resolution designating the time and place for board meetings for fiscal year 2025. Consistent with prior practice, most board meetings will take place at 2 p.m. on the 4th Thursday of the month at the Buell Building's 7th floor. The exceptions are the board meetings in November and December, which are combined into one meeting due to the holidays. In addition, the August, September, and October meetings will take place at locations within each of the 3 counties. The times and locations of those are being determined, and appropriate notice will be provided.
Any question? None? Okay, motion been made and supported. All those who agree signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Item B, resolution approval of the United Auto Worker Local 771 contract.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll support it.
Motion been made and supported. Mr. Burt.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Smarts Board members. I'm here to present the board with a resolution requesting approval for the general manager to enter into collective bargaining agreement on behalf of the authority with the UAW Local 771. In August of 2022, the bargaining teams began to negotiate
a collective bargaining agreement to replace the agreement that expired on December 31st, 2022. A tentative agreement was reached between the parties on June 7th, 2024. And on June 23rd, 2024, the UAW Local 77 ratified their collective bargaining agreement. This agreement will be the duration from June 23rd, 2024 to December 31st, 2025. The new agreement includes the following key economic changes. Effective June 24th, 2024, a 24% increase to wages. On January 1st, 2025, an 8% increase to wages. This will carry over to other unions as part of the Me Too agreement. There's a one-time ratification bonus of $2,000, which will be paid to all employees currently represented by the UAW Local 771. A tow truck assignment incentives for employees with qualified credentials shall be paid a one-time bonus of $500 for towing a smart vehicle. Employees assigned to these duties shall be paid a premium of $1 an hour for each hour worked on this assignment. Pay premiums for individuals holding automotive service excellence certificates, attendance incentive programs for all UAW employees, safety incentive programs for bus service and shelter attendants, stock purchase incentive, inventory incentive program, an increase to tool allowance, an increase to tuition reimbursement, and a student loan repayment program. This also includes the addition of 4 paid holidays. This agreement also includes the following benefit changes. We would discontinue the benefit with a defined benefit pension plan and offer a defined contribution plan for new SMART employees joining the bargaining unit after the date of ratification and when SMART meets the compliance requirements. Annual employee contribution in the amount of 6% of the employee's total pensionable compensation. Employees contribute requirement in the amount of 3% of the employee's total pensionable compensation. The authority contribute to the 401 plan shall vest as follows. After 12 months of service, 20% vested. After 24 months of service, 40% vested. After 36 months of service, 60% vested. After 48 months of service, 80% vested. And after 60 months of service, they are 100% vested. The employee's 3% contribution shall be vested at 100% from initial enrollment and contribution to the plan. The offer offers also a new Health Alliance plan, a PPO option to UAW representing employees effective July 9th, 2024. There's also been an increase to the employer's contribution healthcare savings plan for all eligible UAW employees from $137 a month to $197 a month. There's an annual payout to employees of sick time and access to the maximum defined in the collective bargaining agreement at 100% of the base wage rate. With this agreement, we also have adopted the new attendance policy. This policy allows employees to be absent for qualifying reasons protected under the Michigan Paid Medical Leave Act for up to 56 hours each calendar year without penalty. Thereafter, the employee must be approved absence from work due to personal medical reasons by no later than 8 hours in advance of their scheduled shift. Pre-approval, 24 hours in advance, is required for all other types of paid absences, vacation, and personal leave. Employees who exhaust their affirmated 56 hours entitlement and fail to secure pre-approval before the absence from a scheduled shift will be subject to a 5-step discipline procedure. Staff recommends the board's approval of this agreement, and it is the best interest of the authority.
Any question for
Any
Mr.
questions?
Burt? Seeing none, motion.
Sorry,
Okay,
sorry.
Ms. Chamberlain.
I just have a few questions. I just want to, we talked about much of this, but, so in January, there would be a 32% increase in wages.
Yeah, 24%.
Plus
Immediately.
immediately,
24%,
and then 8%.
yes.
And then starting in the first quarter, so every 3 months, when it'll be paid out in a lump sum, every 13 weeks, I could qualify for the incentive, the safety incentive.
Yes,
And then, if I'm in the pension now, if we didn't move to the defined contribution. And I worked 9 years and left Smart. Well, how vested would I be?
You'd be 100% vested in your money.
Okay, but I wouldn't get any of the money that
Smart
Smart
money.
contributed until the 10-year period.
Correct,
So right now with the pension, you have a 10-year
correct.
vest, okay. And then the attendance policy, 56 hours, how many days is that?
7 days.
7 days. So you have 7 days that you can be absent. How does the pre-approval work? How many days of pre-approval days?
A pre-approval is based upon your years of service,
Okay.
your vacation time, or anything that you have occurred.
Okay, so at
It
each,
has to be in advance.
It has to be in advance.
right,
Yes.
well, I mean, we have to take our time in advance, right?
That's how that works.
Okay, so the 7 days, I guess you don't have to take in advance? You don't have to tell anyone?
Nope. You can call in.
Okay, so 7 days you can call in the morning and not come to work. The other days that you've accumulated based on your years in service, what would be an average person's vacation days?
Usually, the average employee right now has about 2 weeks of vacation time and 5 days of POD time.
Okay,
And this was really about people who call in.
right,
The vacation times are typically scheduled well in advance. So hadn't been an issue. But it's people who get up and decide they don't want to come to work today for whatever reason. We wanted to have a policy that would put some constraints on that. Currently, if you had any paid leave at all, paid status, you could just take off. And quite frankly, this is a unique provision in a union contract. My experience is not seeing anything like this. And
the
so,
way that it currently exists.
correct.
Mhm.
And so the idea is to incentivize people. So it wasn't just about, okay, let's take something away and not let's give something for it.
Right,
But we originally proposed it to add to the hourly rate so that they could leverage it for overtime. They wanted to do it as a bonus, so be it.
so I just want to commend the Smart Management for finalizing this agreement. I know that it hasn't been easy. And I'm glad to see it was important to all of us. That's why we're here on a Monday after the holiday to get it approved so that it can begin to take effect. So once we have, and the UAW ratified this
Yes.
Yes.
in advance.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
They approved this, right? I just want to verify I just want to make sure that everyone understands that. So once this is approved, all of the unions that represent workers at Smart will have agreed to their contract, their new
Well,
contracts,
3 of them.
except for
ATU.
ATU. So all of the employees after today will begin to have received, some of them have already received the 24% increase
Yes,
and are abiding by the attendance
and
policy.
some of them have already received their first bonus.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, all right, so, and then, so after this, all the employees, except for those represented by ATU, will have been receiving the increase in wages and the bonuses
Correct,
and the signing bonus.
correct.
All right, well, I have no further questions. I look forward to voting in favor of this contract.
Any other question? Mr. Monaco, for the general manager on the tuition reimbursement, I see a significant increase for the employees. Is there a stay at Smart clause anywhere in there?
No.
that- Okay, the student loan repayment program is the first I've seen. I don't remember any other transit agencies.
There isn't one.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
And if I might, because we've talked a lot about the tuition reimbursement and the whole notion is to reduce barriers in terms of people who may want to go back and get an additional certification. So the notion of staying here is just adding a barrier. So I would not support that at all.
So the idea was, we have people here who may want to be a chef. If them going to culinary school will make them happy and stay here during that time, so be it. What we have to recognize now is that SMART is competing against a lot of gig work where people can make money and work at their own hours. The three largest demographics in the United States are Generation X, Millennials, and Generation Z. That group is quite transient, and quality of life for them is absolutely essential. So the things that we put in would to make sure that people could have a quality of life. So there you have it.
Thank you. You know, I agree with you that people should have the quality of life they desire. It might be different sometime what you want from what I want. And what I like about this is we're not limited to one thing, one side of education, the transportation, as you mentioned. If you want to be chef or you want to be mechanic, whatever you desire, we live in a free country, and we people should be free to choose what they want. And proudly, I could say, SMART offer you to be what you want to be. That it's a great thing to have. And negotiation with contract, with my experience in the political arena for been elected official for 32 years. Doesn't matter how close both sides, it's always painful, always difficult, but always have a happy ending because the intention of both sides, it's good. The administration wanted to make sure the organization is strong and healthy and provide the service intended to provide. And the union have the right to fight for decent living. Person doesn't need to have two jobs to be able to raise a family. You know, both sides doing the right thing. And sometimes we get stuck in one area where the wheel is spin in the same spot. But in the end, we always find the common ground to make both sides have a fair contract. And I'm sure would be the case with the ATU soon. Be glad to support this item 10B for the UAW. And motion been made and supported. If there are no other discussion, all those who agree signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chair vote aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Farrell and the staff and the union by reaching a fair agreement for everybody. Okay. Next item 11, board member business. We start with Mr. Monaco. You have anything? John?
Nothing in mind.
Mrs. Chamberlain? Well, I just again wanna congratulate Mr. Ferrer and thank you for your leadership, and hopefully soon we get the last contract be approved and have a happy ending, and I'm sure we will. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. All those who agree signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.